1 p.m. Good evening, PNAA. My name is Amelia Guzman, Education Chair of PNAA. Thank you for joining us in the third session of a four-part series related to COVID-19 pandemic. This series is offered free of charge by PNAA and PNAA Foundation and is dedicated to all nurses in the sphere of the nurse and the midwife. It is also dedicated to honor our fallen heroes of the healthcare professions here in the United States and in our homeland. For those who are registered and had connectivity issues with sessions 1 and 2, go to the YouTube link found at the very top of the COVID-19 flyer and watch the recording. Then proceed to your PNAA support email to complete the evaluation and print your certificate. This session awards 2.1 contact hours. You must be registered and do that at mypna.org with a valid email address, and you must complete the evaluation to receive your contact hours. If you registered with a valid email address, you will get an email with the heading PNAA support. This allows you to access Digital in the evaluation form. You have 15 days from the last session, which is June 6th. Evaluations will close permanently on June 21, 2020. Our provider of contact hours is the California Board of Nursing. The Philippine Nurses Association of America Foundation is an approved provider of continuing education by the California Board of Registered Nursing, CEP number 14134. The speakers have disclosed no conflict of interest. The purpose of this series is to discuss issues that relate to COVID-19. PNAA and the speakers are not able to comment on an individual's risk factors or medical issues. For medical and personal concerns, please contact your healthcare provider. For current updates, please check coronavirus.gov or your public health department. Zoom instructions. All participants will be muted for the entire session. Only the speaker, the education chair, and the chat monitors will have open microphones. All questions must be typed in the chat box at the bottom of your screen. It is best to use the speaker's view. It's located at the top right of your screen. It is a little square with 3 dots on top. The gallery view will show all participants. This session will be recorded. Thank you, and we shall begin. Our speaker and her topic is coping with the new normal. She is Tess Medina, DNP candidate, MAS, PSN, RN, board certified. She is a successful nurse leader with more than 30 years of clinical and management experience. She is currently the Assistant Vice President for the Behavioral Health Services at Clara Mass Medical Center of the Robert Wood Johnson Barnabas Health Group. Tess is also the PNANJ President-elect for the next term, 2020-2022. She's an active member of the Philippine Nurses Association of New Jersey for the last 10 years and chaired the PNANJ Ways and Means Committee for the last 2 years. She's a fierce mental health advocate and speaks on behalf of the populations she serves on statewide forums. Tess is a doctoral candidate at Capella University, currently working on her capstone project and expect to complete her studies in the fall of 2020. So let's give a virtual welcome to Tess. And I'll take my screen down and you can take it away, Tess.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. And May, thank you for that very nice introduction. I am very, very honored to be here, to be invited to speak on the psychosocial issues with regard to COVID-19. And I am really amazed on how PNAA have put together this educational series to help all of us and honor our fallen heroes. So next slide, please. So I want to start my presentation with, with this question: how did we get here? So the first infected patient seen in Wuhan, China. That was December A 2018, and it has then spread to 200 countries. And as of last week, there were over 5 million people infected worldwide. And the COVID-19 pandemic has not only caused an unprecedented global health crisis, but has also triggered a worldwide economic downturn. And people say that 2020 is on track to witness the deepest global recession on a scale not seen since World War II. One major reasons is early stages. The World Health Organization said the coronavirus will never go away, or may never go away completely. It may become another immunity, and it's going to be difficult to really eradicate. And there's a lot of endemic viruses that we have dealt with. For example, HIV. HIV virus has not gone away, but we have come to terms with it and found prevention methods that allowed infected people to enjoy long and healthy lives. No one can predict when COVID-19 will go away. According to Dr. Fauci, the director of allergy and infectious disease and member of the White House coronavirus task force, this virus is highly prevalent, highly transmissible, and it's more like that we'll see this infection come this fall and winter. This virus is very difficult to control and eliminate, and there will always be an infection somewhere in our planet because people do travel. So how do we live safely with this virus? So fighting an endemic disease requires long-range planning, sustained coordinated effort, and international coordination. It could take years and years before this could be eliminated or controlled. So right now we have 4 months to prepare for the so-called second wave, and hopefully we will have a process in place, the test, the capability, and the manpower to identify, isolate, and do contact tracing as cases reappear. I just want to put this slide in. So as of last week, we have about 1.7 million people in the US infected with or afflicted with COVID. And as of last week, we have more than 100,000 people infected. Next slide, please. Next slide, yes. So in order to to move forward with the pandemic, there's a race to develop a vaccine. So there's more than 100 potential coronavirus in development. I believe there are 40 that are leading the race. But in order to really be effective in in controlling this pandemic, the vaccine has to be highly effective, available to everyone, and everyone must use it. I highlight everyone must use it because we all know that there are a group of people that are non-vaxxers, and that would really be a problem because there's a lot of people there who don't believe in vaccination. But the vaccine will not guarantee a global protection though. So Dr. Fauci said that he hoped that there is a deployable vaccine by the end of December, keeping our fingers crossed. Next slide, please. So COVID testing. So the goal is to test everyone. And there's about 330 million, give or take, in the US, according to Johns Hopkins. Well, we have vaccinated, we have tested 4.5 million. That's about 4.5%. 15 million people. That's about 4.5% of the US population. And so we still have about 314 million people to test. And the target is 40 million a month. In my hospital, in my organization, we're not only testing all the employees now, but we are also testing for antibodies. Hopefully, we can move forward with all this testing. Next slide, please. So people say we are on the same boat during the pandemic, but I beg to differ. We are not on the same boat. The effects of the COVID-19 panic has caused massive changes to our daily lives, changes that have often happened rapidly and abruptly. So I was medically, for example, during the height of the pandemic, I was medically ordered to work from home. And I thought it was going to be easy because, I'm used to being on call 24/7, but I was wrong. It was very stressful. I found myself working more hours, isolated with no one to talk to. I couldn't even give myself a break. And, my day starts at 6:30 where I have to do, nursing huddle. And then there's the 8 o'clock safety huddle, then there's the 9 o'clock huddle, and it was just on and on. And, my day usually would end at 7 p.m. So life adjustment came with all experiences and actions. And sometimes the transition the move for some, and of us, the new normal is happy and very bumpy. Next slide, please. So the new normal. So we all found ourselves in our new normal. A lot of people were working from home. Children has to be homeschooled. Some people were, furloughed from work. Beyond the stresses inherent in this pandemic, the stay-at-home mandates, the quarantine, and the isolation were very, very new to us. And we didn't know how to react individually, collectively. Evidence suggests that vulnerable groups like children and old people confined in their homes can have a negative health outcomes. The children especially because, because they are physically less active and have much longer screen time. They have regular sleep patterns and less favorable diets. I can tell you that when I was confined home, what did we eat? We ordered pizza, Chinese, and what's easy. Then I got tired of it and started cooking, which was better. So the direct and indirect implications of child, particularly for us healthcare workers. I remember my advanced practice nurse who had 2 children that she had to homeschool. And I needed to work with her in order for her to help her children with school and still come to work. So there was a lot of adjustments with scheduling, and that was life, and we move on. Next slide. The new normal also, looks like, was like lockdowns, shutdowns, and social distancing. The current, focus on the prevention of COVID, the preparation, the discussions are issues related to physical health. However, it is important to understand that the life-threatening negative consequences are going to be faced by few, but everyone is going to face the negative mental consequences of the pandemic. And we people in behavioral health are predicting the next pandemic is almost PTSD, mental health issues related to people's experiences during the pandemic. We have to remember, ignoring the importance of psychological health by the viral infection, the isolation, and restricted activities, and sleeping, the lack and the fake news can lead or have led to anxiety, stress, and episodes of depressive reactions. Next slide, please. So, infodemic. Infodemic is a new word. It is a new word related to COVID-19. So, infodemic is an overabundance of information, and many of it or some of it are false. Evidence shows, or researchers have found that infodemic poses serious problems for public health that may further increase the risk of mental health. So, according to the Gallup poll, Americans are divided in terms of whether it's harder or easier or to be well informed about the coronavirus because of easy access to a wide variety of information sources. So we get it from the TV, we get it from social media, we get it from newspaper, and it's on demand. And sometimes it causes a lot of stress. Next slide, please. So I put this slide in there just to show that, there's a bit of Americans who says that they feel overwhelmed by the amount of information on the coronavirus. So the younger people, 45% of them, 18 to 34 years old, feels that they are overwhelmed. The 35 to 54 years old, 35% of them says they are overwhelmed. And 55 years old and above, not really. It's the reaction to the pandemic really is, I'll tell you, is according to age. When I started talking to the staff and talking to the nurse manager in my hospital as to how their staff are coping, it was the younger generation that are more open to conversation about their feeling. My generation, and I'm old, I'm okay, we're okay, we can get through this. So different stroke for different folks. Next slide, please. So the COVID-19 pandemic has, as we know, has alarming implications for individual and the collective health and emotional functioning of everyone. So we medical or healthcare providers are very, very stretched in providing care. But we also have an important role in monitoring the psychosocial needs and delivering psychosocial support to our patients and to our friends and our coworkers and the public as a whole. The activities, the next strategic plan on pandemic management should include and integrate psychosocial and the mental health issues and how to manage that impact. The studies that on post-SARS pandemic and post-Ebola indicate that even people who are recovering after people who were recovering physically from the disease reported that they suffered social and psychological problems that is similar to the pandemic. So how do we react? And some people find themselves in survival mode, gathering information and resources necessary to function at work or as a person and in our relationship with others. Others may be attempting just to settle and into their new routines. For some, this means trying to combat social isolation. It means learning how to live with friends and family members. Remember, husband, wives, they don't really, see each other or stay together for like 24/7. And now some people find it very stressful. my daughter who lives in New York lives with a roommate. He actually went home to to Jersey City and left my daughter at home. They're friends, and my daughter lived with her dog, since February. She works for Bank of America, and the banks actually deployed all their staff to work from home. And so she's been working from home since February, and we were worried about her social isolation. But she managed. So, this whole COVID, pandemic experience is very difficult for a lot of us. Many of us, our family members got sick. There are those that didn't survive. And I can tell you, my husband got sick with COVID, and with the grace of God, he recovered. But it was a good 10 days, no sleep, round the clock monitoring, scared that he had this chest pain, and I didn't know what was going on. But the support of PNA and family and their workers helped me go through all of this. And I am sure a lot of you can relate to my story. So a lot of us struggle with fatigue, frustration, sadness, anger, grief, and anxiety of adjusting, and have gone through the adjustment process. And I hope that people are finding comfort in your new norm. But in all of this, there are a few things that we have to remember. Next slide, please. So a lot of people are worrying. A lot of people are anxious. So let me define what anxiety is. So just, we just have a context. So anxiety is a state of high physiological arousal. So cortisol, adrenaline, fight or flight, we all know this. Worry, on the other hand, is a component of anxiety. It is our mental attempts to avoid anticipated threats. And if, on its own, worry does not cause any psychological arousal. And we all know that we have to remember that anxiety is useful. I always tell this to my students, a little bit of anxiety help you focus and, do better in exam, but too much of it becomes morbid and pathological. So in situations when we are in immediate danger, our anxiety can remove us from harm and motivate us to act. However, when anxiety impairs our ability to function, it is important to try to manage it in healthy ways. It takes work to manage stress and build resilience, guys. It may be helpful to think of resilience as a muscle that must be trained consistently in order to achieve the results. My boys are avid gym fanatics, so they go and go to gym every day to develop their muscles, and they are bulk. So that's how we need to build our resilience. It may be difficult to change thoughts and behaviors, but with exercise, it gets easier over time. Next slide, please. So just review symptoms to stress. So during this pandemic, people complain that, they have difficulty sleeping or they don't have appetite. People are irritable and are unable to really pay attention to what's going on. I would tell you, personally speaking, I couldn't concentrate. I tell people I lost my brains. So as you know, I am trying to finish a work on my capstone. I couldn't concentrate on my paper. I even called my professor to tell her I'm thinking of dropping this semester because with all the stress that's happening, work, family, and friends, and all that, I couldn't concentrate. It was like a fog, right? So that's my reaction to stress. I'm always, I always feel very tired, but I didn't do alcohol. Don't drink, and I don't. And some people do, resort to that, or they may resort to drug use. So we have to be careful. Next slide, please. So this conversation is about coping with the pandemic or with our new normal. We need to learn how to manage stress. And let me tell you, why do we need to manage stress? Managing stress helps us to feel better, to reestablish control and continue to function. So it also helps improve our immune response. Acute and chronic stress is associated with immune system suppression. And with chronic stress, it negatively impacts or affects cell and humoral immunity. And thank God I'm talking to nurses, so we all can understand this concept. And stress reduction, the relaxation exercises, and all of that, good stuff will help amplify or boost our immune system. So, and that session will follow after my talk. Next slide, please. So, managing stress reduces the negative chronic health outcomes. Chronic stress is associated with cardiovascular disease, tension or migraine headaches, lack of sleep, and lack of motivation. It is also associated with maladaptive coping mechanisms such as substance abuse. So coping with stress or managing stress improves our ability to handle unexpected new stresses or new challenges. And multiple studies found that mindfulness-based stress reduction practices allowed nurses to report feeling less stressed, anxious, and depressed, and are more empathetic. Next slide, please. I put these slides there about resilience, just to really define what resilience is. I like this definition that resilience is the courage to come back. It is our ability and capacity to really recover from difficulties and adversities, and it is our ability to maintain or regain mental health after, all the trauma around us. As much as resilience involves bouncing back from different experiences, it can also involve profound personal growth. We grow from it, we learn from it, and we know better. It empowers us to grow and improve our life along the way. Next slide, please. I like these slides, and it talks about courage. And this is, I know that all of us, particularly the nurses who are in the front line, we were very courageous. And courage is defined as the art of being the only one who knows you're scared to death. And we were all scared to death, right? Next slide, please. All right. So let's take control of the situation with our new normal. So our new normal can be both uncertain and temporary. Let me tell you this, guys. It is okay not to feel okay. It is okay to be upset. It is okay to be worried. It's okay to be scared. But it's also okay to seek help and support. It is good to be informed, but take breaks from conversation. Take a break from the news. Turn off the TV. Anything that is related to COVID-19 epidemic is bad for our health, physically and mentally. Next slide, please. We have to come to terms with our new reality. We have to come to terms that life will never be the same before. Let's give ourselves a break. The new normal comes with very different level of expectations. How many of us needed a haircut? But we live with it, right? Either, you ask somebody to cut your hair, like I've cut my husband's hair.
I don't know if I did a good job, or my son. I usually, before this pandemic, would get my nails done. It was one of those things that I do for my self-care, but I learned to live with my natural nails. So giving myself a break, it means I've got to adjust to what is in front of me and make the best out of it. We need to be kind and practice acceptance. I remember this, my coworker, one of my social workers said, he cannot stand staying home, and because the wife keeps nagging him with things that he needed to do around the house. And I said, just be kind, and and accept. Let's do a politeness binge. Let's just be nice and be kind to everyone. We have to be more tolerant, and because if we don't, we will not survive this, right? And this is what I like. Let's view life as a narrative. Let's get that book and start writing this chapter of our life, because life is a series of chapters. Let's start a story on how we cope, and let's have an ending to this chapter. The end is up to you. And this is one of the things that we teach our patients, journaling, in order to cope with the challenges in front of them and improve their mental health. Next slide, please. Okay. So I have to say that, a lot of our frustration comes from unexpected, inflexible expectations from ourselves and from other people. We have to accept that we cannot be able to do everything before, and as long as we hold on to that expectations, we're going to be frustrated. So let's take control of our lives. Let's be mindful. Let's try to focus on the present. Be mindful and respect where you are now, but this too shall pass. Be respectful of where others are. Remember, we are not on the same boat. Check on your family and friends. Seek to understand that understand their needs, but don't forget to tell them about your needs as well. One of my bosses I told her that my husband got COVID, and every day that I talked to her, she would always ask about my husband. Your husband? You guys don't understand. She's my boss, and she's concerned about my family, and that means a lot to me. So I started doing the same thing. So I ask people, so how's your wife? What's this? So and sending people notes, letters to say that, hey, I care and I think about you and I'm praying for you. That helps me and helps the other person. But we have to also be able to set boundaries, because people will not know how to stop talking, how to stop calling. We have to be able to say, okay, I can talk to you for 30 minutes and I'll call you back tomorrow. I do that with patients or families of patients who are on the phone, and once they start becoming very difficult or being abusive on the phone, I will just set the boundaries and say, you are getting very upset right now, and this conversation is going nowhere, so I'm going to hang up now, but I will call you back in 30 minutes, or you can call me back in 30 minutes when you calm down. So let's learn to set boundaries. And another strategy to take control is set a routine to make sure to schedule time for your physical and your emotional health, and schedule fun times. Schedule and be creative about it. Reconnect with friends, and do some stress relief. I used to, one of the things that I do for fun is fishing. I can't do fishing, but I also love cooking. When I got tired of ordering Chinese food or pizza or Italian food, I went back to cooking, and that was really very cathartic for me. I also went back to reading books, because because of school, because of the the stress. I mean, managing departments and being on call for the hospital. That was my life: school, work, school, work. But then with this COVID pandemic and being at home, I learned to, oh, I can do other things since I lost my brain and I can't concentrate on schoolwork. I might as well read books that I love to read. And I must have read like 5 books over the course of 4 weeks. And that was really, that helped me really relax. So consider the things in your life that you expected or hoped but didn't pan out and you survived. Change the expectation to match your reality and realizing it's not catastrophic. So next slide, please. So COVID-19 for us, for frontliners and for first responders. In order for us to manage stress and to, to take care of us, please be cognizant of the signs and symptoms of burnt out. When you find yourself being sad, depressed, or apathetic, when you find yourself being frustrated or start blaming others and feeling like you don't care anymore, or you feel disconnected or isolated from others, those are signs of burnout, my friends. And if you don't care how you look like, I used to, I do my hair and now I don't care, I'll just put it in a ponytail, right? When you're tired, exhausted, or overwhelmed, when you're feeling that everything that you do is like a failure, or you're overwhelmed and you're hopeless and you worry too much, those are signs of burnout and those are not healthy. You need to stop and regroup and talk about, okay, what am I doing? What's happening to me? Please. So how can we cope and prevent burnout? Remember that it's okay not to feel okay, but it's also remember that it is acceptable to take breaks. All right. I know during the height of pandemics, I have friends who says that they didn't take a break for 11 hours. And I say, why? Oh, because there's no, if I get out of my peace, then I have nothing else. And very, very stressful. She got so tired and very exhausted. But what I really was very upset about is when she told me that she was so upset about, families calling and they were actually yelling and singing because they couldn't get to the phone fast, and those family members didn't have the right to do that. But of course, they're frustrated, they're trying to cope, and that was the problem, right? So remember that it is acceptable and it's okay to take a break. Remember that needing one's help will allow us to be a better nurse, to be a better caregiver, and to be a better mother friend. And we will make the best contribution if we are in good health, okay? We need to talk to our family, to our friends, our supervisor, and teammates about how we feel and our experiences. Last week, Maureen and Marianne, you talked about how they were reaching out to the frontliners, attending their huddles and whatnot, provide the emotional support for the nurses and the staff. I did the same for our hospital. I reached out to the nurse managers and told them that I need them to set time for us to come so we can reach out to their staff and just help them cope. We did this as a group, and we actually offered individual sessions. And I do have a group of, screeners and mental health professionals that I deployed to the hospitals, even, reaching out, calling them at home to see how they're doing. We went to the EU, the MedSurg flu, went and talked to housekeeping. We went and talked to the dietary department because they too have losses. In my hospital, we lost nurses, we lost doctors. In my own unit, I have 15 of my staff who got sick with COVID, but thank God, both recovered and came back to work. I have 3 of my own psychiatrists who also got infected and recovered. So it was very difficult for us, but reaching out to them and talking to them really made it better, right? It's social distancing at work, and we are required, and we have to wear a mask, and you have to go to the break room. Okay, consider writing your journal. Remember, life is a narrative. Start writing your chapter, because it is very cathartic and it's very relaxing to just write down your feelings. I was angry, I was scared, I was all of this, and we are all scared, and it's okay to say that. Okay, and if we need to participate in more on online communities. Am I getting choppy? Next slide, please. So resilience. Building resilience, these are some tips on how we can build our resilience. Learn to reframe your thoughts. Look at negative situations realistically. When during early part of the pandemic, there were some very confusing directives or policies with regards to PPEs. We were told to, you don't need to mask, then you need to mask, and people were very angry. So we needed to be front and center to, to keep our staff informed and to help them look at this negative situation realistically. And we needed to look for small ways to solve problems. And there were a lot of innovations put in when we had patients that we cannot allow visitation because of how the COVID-19 virus is spreading. So what we did is we use FaceTime. We use FaceTime. We use baby monitors to monitor the patient in that closed door room while they are actually confined or isolated. We also move the IV poles, all of these monitors outside the patient room. So we save on the PPEs and the exposure of the staff to COVID positive patients. So there were a lot of small ways to solve our problems. And we focus on positive things that help us get out of our negative mindset. You know how, and I know a lot of hospitals was doing this, that they play, a song, Here Comes the Sun, when a COVID positive patient who was intubated and is doing well. So we were doing that. So we were focusing on positive things. Building resilience also means seeking support. Discuss your thoughts with other people to help gain insight or get new ideas. I've said that so many times in this conversation. We need to reach out, communicate, and check on other people. And then let's focus on what we can control. We can control our positive. We can control turning off the TV and not listening to the news. We can control finding fun to do at home. We can control how to follow the recommendations from CDC. Wash your hands, wear a mask, and don't touch your face, right? We can limit our social media exposure, and we can control how much kindness and grace we gonna be in this situation we are in our new normal. We cannot control the amount of toilet paper at the store. No, but you can find ways to not use toilet paper, and I don't want to go there. So, so you cannot control how long this pandemic will last. We cannot control how people will react. We see people out on the street in crowded places, and they're not wearing masks. We cannot control how people's motives. And we cannot control predicting what will happen. We can't do that. And we can't control other people, how they react. And we can't control how some people not follow the rules of social distance. We can't control those, and we cannot worry about that. Next slide, please. So some tips, just to summarize how to cope with COVID-19. The do's are positive thinking, regular exercise, eating a balanced diet, and doing that relaxation exercise, yoga, stretching, and let's establish a daily routine. Let's increase our socialization, whether it's that online or by phone, and let's take a break from routine work, and let's develop other healthy lifestyle measures, okay? And some of the don'ts, of course, don't resort to smoking, drinking, or using drugs. Let's try not to eat too much fast food. And let's try not to, let's curtail or limit our online activities. And again, I said, let's not watch the news too much. If you have seen the news in the morning, then you know what, maybe you don't have to check your phone every hour to see what's going on, right? And of course, let's not party. Let's not party and let's not travel. That's not good for our health, okay? And let's not focus on the negative aspect of the pandemic, right? There are some good that came out of this, right? Families are closer, working together, and develop new ways of having fun as opposed to going out to the movies or eating out. We discover the art of cooking again and just really some wholesome fun. And let's stop posting about COVID-19 on Facebook. And let's stop spreading and believing in fake news. Next slide, please. So I just want to put this out there. I know we know this, but let me remind you, we need to wash our hands, and we need to, wear a mask and cover and use handkerchief to cover our face or when sneezing. We need to follow social distancing, and we need to avoid traveling. Stay at home until we are told that we can venture out, go to the beach or go to church. I miss my church. I really wanted to go back to church, but until we get that directive, we need to do what we need to do. Okay, next slide, please. So, are we ready to reopen? As we states start to reopen, we will have to weigh the risk versus the benefit out more, along with our own tolerance for uncertainty. The bottom line is we should continue vigilant, maintain distance, wear masks, wash your hands and don't touch your face, and take responsibility for your own health and those around you. Next slide, please. So I like to, share this with you. I really like this quote, which says, I have not ceased being fearful, but I have ceased to let fear control me. I think that is very, very relevant to what is happening right now. And I hope that, this conversation that we have would help you in some ways to overcome your fear. Next slide, please. And please remember, fear is a reaction and courage is a decision. Courage is what all of us nurses, first responders have, because it is our courage that brought the pandemic, where it is now. Our numbers are going down, and it should stay down if we all take responsibilities to managing it and hopefully eradicating it. Thank you very much. Next slide, please. So this is my way of thanking everyone. You are all heroes in my eyes. I can't even say I'm a hero because I work in the background, but everyone who served and for everything that you do, for many who have made the ultimate sacrifice, we will remember them. And for those of us and everyone who are still working the trenches, we will continue to support you and we will continue to pray for you. Thank you. Next slide. Thank you for your attention. Any questions?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
we'll take questions. Manny and Em.
Yes, Tess, this is Emerson, and thank you so much for the tips and the insights and the recommendations about self-care. If you can address a concern here about how to deal when you are being singled out based on ethnicity. So there is a preponderance of, discrimination and xenophobia around. So I guess that question relates to that. How do you deal with that?
How do we deal with stigma? How do we deal with, oh, you're Asian and you brought it here? Right? Is that what your question is? Or being singled out?
Yes, it's a general, the xenophobia and the racism associated with COVID.
It is really through education. We need to educate people, and like I said, we need to be able to control what we can, right? If we react negatively to those people who single you out, and then you lose, because as professionals, and we know that there's a lot of misinformation going out there. I've seen a lot of people, single out or attacking people in the subway because they're Chinese, and people who don't know better. We have to be careful and practice and be mindful of our environment. And it really it behooves all of us to be able to really share our stories and be able to also educate the public and teach ourselves to, okay, how am I going to address this person who is in front of me and is causing me this anxiety? I'm a psychiatric nurse. I would know how to handle this person, okay? And I would say, I am sorry. I know I am sorry. I know you don't feel, I don't understand why you're acting the way you're reacting, but you really, is making me uncomfortable, and I am going to walk away from you now, because it is an I statement and not a you. So when people are confronting us, we tell them, and this is what, I teach my staff and my students and people, when you are faced with a very upset person about whatever it is, whether it's xenophobia, stigma, or just plain racism, we can say that, understand, I don't understand why you're feeling the way you're feeling, but I know that you are upset and it's also making me upset. So I'm going to walk away from you now. Okay. So it's not, you have to assess the situation, what is being presented to you, and then you react. Yeah, we have to use our, our nursing process. What is the situation? Am I safe here? Is it confronting or addressing the assault? Am I safe to do that? Or is it just safe to just walk away from it? But generally speaking, we need to continue to educate the public. Educate the public and block this fake news or xenophobia that people are saying, oh, it really originated from China. The Chinese brought it here. So we got to be able to separate that. Did I answer your question?
Thank you. I think that was very informative, and we can learn about being able to be professionals when we are confronted with those types of negative behavior. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Tess, this is Manny. I'm one of the chat monitors. There is a related question from one of the attendees. So she says, as nurses, we are patient educators and advocates. What do we do when we encounter people who are spreading misinformation on COVID-19? For example, a woman is drunk and screaming that COVID-19 is not airborne, and approximately 10 people around her were listening and nodding their heads. Should we attempt to teach people spreading misinformation? I did not feel safe to educate given the situation and because of the numerous stories of racial discrimination towards Filipinos in public.
Okay, and you're very right to, it depends on, where you are. Are you in an open public, situation or scenario? If you are, then it is safe for you not to, because you have to you have to consider your own safety. And if people around you are nodding, agreeing to this person, there is no way you can educate or redirect that conversation, right? But if this is a group of patients and you are educating a patient, in psych we do group therapy and we talk about what's going on, current events. So how do you feel about it? So what do you know about the current pandemic? How do you know about this? And one patient who may be paranoid, these are psych patients, this and that, and we can redirect that. You have to be able to redirect and teach in a safe environment. Do not engage people who doesn't really know the science behind the disease and the science behind all of the interventions that we are doing. So for your safety, do not do that. But if you have to, we have to continue and find a forum where we can educate. A lot of people, like what we're doing now, we're educating ourselves. We know about this, but when we talk about this, we can tease out more of, more intervention, more strategies on how to deal with it. But be safe. That's what I'm telling, before you engage.
Thank you, Tess. I don't see any other questions in the chat room.
Okay, it's time anyway. So thank you very much, Tess, for gracing our COVID series with your expertise. And thank you very much for all the tips we're going to use with what's coming up in our new normal. I know that even in our own environment, you're satisfied with just waving to neighbors instead of, having close conversations. We have our game nights. Now we don't have our game nights, so we just do FaceTime and do all the things that we could do virtually, like we're doing tonight. So thank you very much. We'll give Tess a round of applause. Jazz hands. Thank you very much, Tess.
Thank you for having me. I had so much fun. I hope you have some takeaways from this. And if you guys have any question, you can feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to help out. Thank you.
Okay. And then now we go to mindfulness. This is the part where we let loose, kick off your slippers, your shoes, and get a comfy area where you can Let your body loose because April will take us somewhere else where we take care of ourselves. April is our healing practice for nurses instructor. This is the third one. And nurses are the heart of healthcare, and it's important to care for that heart. Mindfulness is a practice of bringing non-judgmental awareness in the present moment. You will be guided through practices anchored in breath and body awareness to support in caring for yourself as you care for others. April was part of the inaugural cohort at the Spirituality Mind Body Institute, where she received her master's degree in spirituality and mindfulness in 2016. She got her MS education at Fordham University and BS International Relations, Community Development and Educational Studies from Mount Holyoke College. April, it's all yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the kind introduction. And I am so incredibly grateful to be supporting you all again tonight in the practices of mindfulness, resilience, and self-care. So much was already shared by Tess that weaves in beautifully to the experiences we'll be going through tonight. And I wanted to highlight one piece first. This idea of us as a world going through an infodemic. I never heard that term before tonight, but it makes a lot of sense. This idea that we're going through an infodemic, bombarded with news, and what can we trust? Okay. Now, what we're going to be going through this evening and these practices that we've been practicing together with mindfulness and movement is it's almost like turning the news channel directly onto what is happening in this moment, right here, right now, in your body. So you're turning off the other news channels and you're turning on the news channel of just what's happening right here, right now, in your body, yeah? And one of my initial teachers once told me, our true issues lie in our tissues, yeah? So we can go through life saying, okay, we're fine, we're this, we're that, we're okay. We keep doing the next thing, being of service to the next person, but our bodies hold on to our stress in really honest ways. And it can show up in interesting ways. Tess spoke about sickness that is a cause of stress, and how mindfulness can in fact build your immune system. It can show up in tightness in your muscle tissues. Your body is this very honest news channel to what is going on with you. So we're gonna tap into that news channel tonight and take care of it. I'm gonna start with a story. I'm gonna start with a story because when we embark on this journey of a new normal together, it takes, or it invites us to let go of some things. And letting go is hard. So I wanted to share this interesting story with you all to start our practice. And it's an interesting title, especially being Filipino myself. And the title is called Letting Go of the Rice. And don't worry, it's a metaphor because being part Filipino, I know we will never literally let go of rice, but the title is called Letting Go of the Rice. And it says, in a world that lives like a fist, mercy is no more than waking with your hands open. So much more can happen with our hands open. In fact, closing and stubbornly maintaining our grip is often what keeps us stuck. Though we want to blame everything and everyone else, especially what we're holding on to. There is an ancient story from China that makes all this very clear. It stems from the way traps were set for monkeys. A coconut was hollowed out through an opening that was cut to the size of a monkey's open hand. Rice was then placed in the carved out fruit which was left in the path of the monkeys. Sooner or later, a hungry monkey would smell the rice and reach its hand in. But once fisting the rice, its hand could no longer fit back through the opening. And the monkeys that were caught were those who would not let go of the rice. So as long as the monkey maintained its grip on the rice, it was a prisoner of its own making. The trap worked because the monkey's hunger was the master of its reach. And the lesson for us is profound. We need to ask ourselves, what is our rice and what is keeping us from opening our grip and letting it go? I have since unfolded the grip in my heart, and humbly, I can now see the real challenge of surrender for all of us is not just letting go, but letting go of something we expect, that we yearn for. The truth is, love is everywhere. And though the stubborn monkey believes in its moment of hunger that there is no other food, it only has to let go for its life to unfold. Yeah? Our journey to love is no different. For though we stubbornly cling, believing in our moment of hunger that there is no other possibility of love, we only have to let go of what we want so badly, and our life will unfold. For love is everywhere. Yeah. And I wanted to share this with you all because throughout this time, there have been so many things, expectations, ways of life that as a world we've had to let go of. But I also think of nurses, and I've said this before, as the heart of healthcare. And that heart of healthcare is abundant. It is something that you can always depend on and reach for, and it's within you. And I know because of that, you all, and together, we will get through this into our new normal. It will just take a letting go of some of that clinging that may be from a place of fear and opening up to new possibility together. All right, so we're going to work a little bit with our hands here. Rub the hands together. So our eyes have been looking at lots of news, eyes bombarded. So rub the hands together until you feel some heat, Yeah, building energy in between the palms of your hands, and give all that energy back in place and cup the hands right over your eyes. Like you're rejuvenating those eyes that have seen way too many news flashes that they do not need to see. And take 3 just deep breaths here. Just breathe in. Just breathe out. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. Inhale, let. Good. Exhale, go. Beautiful, beautiful. Yes. And now feel the hands. Can you clench the hands? Feel your hands in fists. Think, what are you holding onto that does not serve you? And then as you exhale, just soften, release the hands. What can you let go of? 2 more. Inhale, clench the fists, clench the hands. Exhale, release. And just feel the difference in your body. Inhale, clench the hands into fists. What are you clinging to? Exhale, release. What can you let go of? Now spread the fingers really wide and take one of your index fingers here. Breathing hand. Trace the pinky, inhale. Trace down the pinky, exhale. Up the ring finger, let. Down the ring finger, go. Up the middle finger, let. Down the middle finger, go. Up the index finger, let. Down the index finger, go. Up the thumb, let. Down the thumb, go. Other hand, just breathing, tracing. Inhale, up the thumb, let. Down the thumb, go. Up the index finger, let. Down the index finger, go. Up the middle finger, let. Down the middle finger, go. Up the ring finger, let. Down the ring finger, go. Up the pinky finger, let. Good. Down the pinky finger, go. Good. Touch. Start to tap through the arms. And we live in our bodies, but we can be very disconnected from it. Just thinking to yourself, this is my body. This is my body. Gentle tap through the arms, hands. Have your own back. Maybe down through the legs and knees. And just feel the touch we provide from your hands to the body right here. So this is more of an invigorating touch, something that you can provide yourself to just wake up and coming back into the sensations of your body. Just, this is my body, this is my body, this is my body. And then you turn that tapping into more of a massage. So feel the difference fully. Feel the difference fully. You move from tapping to more of a massaging touch here through your hands. Good. And something I like to say to myself as I just massage through the body, just thinking, thank you, body. Thank you, body. Thank you, body. Just massaging through the shoulders. Thank you, body. Thank you, body. Thank you, body. And now, a lot of work with hands here. Mom hands. So think of a mom, right? Like rubbing. Nurses are known for their healing touch. So nurse hand, mom hands. Like when you rub the back of a child that's under distress, you have two mom hands right here. One is placed on your hand, on your heart, and one's on the belly. Circles. And just close the eyes and feel this soothing maternal touch that you provide yourself. Circle the heart and the belly. Good. Dropping out of the chatter of the mind and just drop into the sensations of the body. Good. Circle the other way. Just like right here, right now, I'm okay. Right here, right now, I'm okay. Good. Last bit here before our deep relaxation. Tess spoke beautifully about setting up boundaries. Setting up boundaries. And I invite you to really feel yourself in space. So feel your center, that's the belly button. And part of caring for yourself and setting up boundaries is to really take up more space and time for yourself. So we're gonna practice that in the body. So draw all of your awareness towards your belly button. Again, with the hands, press the hands up towards the sky. And let the body send this message that you are allowing and inviting yourself to take up more space here. So from the belly button, feel the hands extend up further up towards the sky, growing a couple inches taller. And then from your belly button, can you sink the seat down further towards the ground? Good. And just feel yourself taking up space up and down. Good. And then draw the arms out to the sides. Flex the fingers toward your face. And find your heart center. And from there, press the right arm out to the right, left arm out to the left. Good, and almost feel like you're pushing all negativity and stress away from you as you take up more space. 3 breaths, inhale, let. Exhale, go. This is your space, your time. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. Last time, inhale, let. Good, exhale, go. Good, slowly release this down. Good, and I'm going to invite us to do just some circles. Again, beautiful circles with the body, calms down the nervous system. You circle the head. Good. Take it the other direction. And the heavier the thoughts have been, the heavier you allow the head to be. No forcing here. Good, and then just allow yourself to take up space here with your torso. Almost like you're drawing this boundary around yourself. This circle that you are creating around yourself right now is your boundary. This is your safe space you're creating around yourself. Good. Beautiful, take it the other direction. Yes. Good. Coming back to center, smaller circles, finding your center, your root. Now you can take this sitting up or with the legs out straight if you're on the ground. Now there's so much talk about how with COVID there's going to be waves. And actually taking wave motions with the body is another way to calm your nervous system down. So if you're sitting, this is okay. If you're in a chair, if you're on the ground, you can like have the knees bent or the legs out straight, whatever feels good for you. But forward folds are also very restorative. So think of like a wave of an ocean. You exhale, the wave rolls forward. You inhale, the wave rolls up. So like the wave up of the spine. Exhale, wave forward. Inhale, wave up. Embrace the wave. So the goal of mindfulness and life really is not to remove the waves completely. The waves are going to happen. The waves of the mind, the wave of this whole thing are going to happen. But these tools of self-care and mindfulness are just learning how to ride the waves. Learn how to ride the waves without drowning in them. Yes, so just wave the body. Roll it forward and back. And the body is telling you right now, yes, you can surf the waves. You can ride the waves. Take a couple more. Let it feel good. Feel it more than think it. Yes. And good. Beautiful. Now I will guide us into our relaxation. It's a letting go body scan. And take a minute or so to really set up your space for relaxation. So wherever you're calling from, if you have the ability to lie down, you can do that. Maybe a blanket on the belly. If you're calling for more of like an office space, maybe you dim the lights. Maybe it's a loosening of the belt, a loosening of the hair tie. I'll light a candle for you and turn off the lights. But set yourself up for comfort. And for a virtual space, what also helps in setting up a space as a community is minimizing that background sound. So if you notice that you're not on mute, I encourage you to put yourself on mute now, just for our practice for the time being. Yes. Good. Beautiful. So setting yourself up in a nice, comfortable position, lying down, one where you feel really, really supported, allowing yourself to really take up space. Allowing yourself to take up space. And I know as nurses, we support so many people. Can you allow yourself right now to be completely held and completely, completely, completely supported by whatever is holding you beneath you, the ground, the chair, the bed. Sink. Allow your back body to be completely heavy. That's it. We're going to let go of tension in each part of the body, inviting the body to let go. Notice the feet. Let go of tension in the feet. Let go of tension from the bottoms of the legs. Let go of tension from the backs of the legs and the thighs. Good. Let go of the lower back. Let go middle of the back. Let go upper back. Good. Let go of all tension from the belly. Good. Let go of the hands. Let go of the bottoms of the arms. Let go of the tops of the arms. Let go of the shoulders. Good. Let go of the jaw. Let go eyes. Let go forehead. Let go mind. Just leave the body by itself. And leave the breath by itself. Enjoy the journey. The sound of the bell will wake you. Slowly begin to come back. If you're lying down, maybe stretch the arms. Point through the toes like you're waking up from a nice long nap. You can bend the knees, roll over onto one side. Good. And come back up to a comfortable seated position. Good. And just take a moment, reach the arms wide. Again, allow yourself to take up space. And allow yourself to wrap your arms around yourself. Bring your chin to your chest and just close down the eyes. Silently think to yourself 3 times. As I am enough. As I am enough. As I am enough. Good. Thank you all so much. Continue to care for yourself as you care for others. And know that everything you need already lies within you, even in this new normal. And continue to care for yourself, please. Yes. I'll stick on for any questions. Yes, thank you, everybody. If you
Thank
fell
you,
asleep,
April.
that's fine too. Bye. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
It always relaxes me, this last part.
I'm glad, yeah. I hope that like some folks could just fall asleep right after.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're very, very welcome. Thank
Yeah.
you. It's been a pleasure. Thank
Yeah.
Thank
you.
you, April.
Thank you. Thank you all so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yes.
Tita May, I had to induct Michigan, so I apologize not to listen to Tess.
Yeah, it's okay.
Tess,
Y-
I missed a good one, huh?
Yeah. She'll be she's on YouTube by Tuesday, I think.
Hi, Perry. I see Perry.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway,
Bye.
next Saturday
Tess,
we have Dula Pacquiao
I
doing
will have to
last
replace you.
segment.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I was at an induction, so I'm sorry.
That's okay, Mads. I'll be on YouTube.
Yeah. Everyone, next Saturday at the same time, 7 o'clock,
All right.
Dula Pacquiao will be doing the social inequities of COVID-19. So
Hi,
that's going to be
Sherry.
a powerful presentation by Dula Pacquiao. So see you next Saturday at 7 o'clock.
All right.
Thank you. Bye.
Check YouTube here now. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.